Punxsutawney Phil!
Woo! Yeah.
Made a choice.
What a way to start a Sunday fun day. You always said you'd make it here one day. To this place, barely big enough to contain ya. So I'm headed back down.
Oh
There's
boy,
a
here it
shadow
comes.
up here. Get ready for six
more weeks of winter.
this year. Woo! Ready
Did you
for
hear it?
6
Let's hear it
more
again.
weeks of winter this year.
6 more weeks of winter this year, folks. If you missed it over the weekend, good old Punxsutawney Phil and his animal abusers decided that there are 6 more weeks of winter. It's amazing how a woodchuck can write a whole note, letter during hibernation, to leave it out there for us humans, for us to read, get his weather forecast. It's absolutely astounding. Meanwhile, Pennsylvania and Punxsutawney is celebrating their monumentous, amazing occasion with 6 more weeks of winter. The rest of the country is kind of falling apart with so many things that happened on this week. Everyone heard about the plane crash happening on Friday, another plane crash. Again, the next following day with Philadelphia, and obviously the two are unrelated. However, there might be some sort of relation due to DEI is what the talk is right now. But we're going to get into it and start reviewing everything. And once again, Groundhog's Day. 6 more weeks of winter, folks. But there's been a lot of attacks all over the media.
I thought, Joel, the point you made that it's our money, you made that, John made the point that it is our money, it's New Yorkers' money. It's true. Like, he cannot take this money to do whatever he wants. And what we know he wants to do is give tax benefits to billionaires, to the wealthiest among us.
This is why I'm irritated, and I had to do this. It's because she's one of our leaders from my state, and you're going around on national television spreading lies. Why? Those aren't true. That's not true. It's not anything mentioned by that campaign, by the administration, what they want to do. But yet we're still going to go on national television and continue to complain and talk about how we're not getting the kicks and benefits into our pockets anymore. And it's not going to all the billionaires. It really isn't.
I don't think he cares. I think chaos is the name of the game.
He cares a lot.
Also, when you're throwing 15 things on the wall, if you have a daily harm of 15 to 20 things, you're fighting each one. Some will work and some won't work. So he doesn't care. He's going to try everything. He's going to try everything. For example, this morning I woke up to find out that he's giving Elon Musk.
I had to pass over this. It's just all about Trump.
Just all of the funding that Treasury sends out, he just literally gave the database to Elon Musk.
I'm drained. This is all you're hearing from every single person on the other side. And nothing for nothing. I get it. You're on the other side too. You're going to complain. You know, I'm kind of one of those people that's stuck in the middle. Being in the middle, an independent voter, you get to kind of have the nice eyes of seeing both sides. And now it's the left that's complaining compared to the right. And, it's 2 weeks in. So she's complaining because of the fact that it's not the track.
Is Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Secretary Noem, welcome back to Meet the Press. You have to start by talking about the breaking news overnight. The president officially announcing those new tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and China, saying he wants those countries to do more to crack down on illegal immigration and drug trafficking. The 3 countries are all slamming the move. They're vowing retaliatory strikes. Is the United States now in a trade war?
You know, these countries have an opportunity to get on board with the President of the United States and to partner with us to deal with illegal immigration, to take back their individuals that have been in our country illegally. We want to repatriate them home, and they can be partners. So economically, yes, they will feel pain. They will feel what this consequences are, and will be able to continue to go forward with a president who's strong, who's putting America first.
You know, let me just stress that point that I made, which is the president cites stopping the flow of fentanyl and undocumented migrants for reasons for these tariffs. And yet, Madam Secretary, Canada is not a major source of fentanyl coming into the United States. It's frankly minuscule compared to what is seized at the southern border. Why is the United States punishing Canada, one of its closest allies, more than China, where fentanyl originates?
Before she goes into it, I'm just going to say my piece here. She does a great job answering this question. However, it's not the fentanyl that's coming over across the border. It's the people that are coming across over the border illegally. The stats for fentanyl coming over the border varies. And our concern mainly is a really big and, how can I say this, very important stat out there that right now currently speaks a whole bunch of volume. And, the national encounters on the border compared to, southern and northern borders are pretty ridiculous. And that's what we're really worried about is the encounters, because it's not even mainly, the fentanyl coming over before this border crisis, but, this is the big problem here. Single adult encounters. That is why we're concerned. These single adult encounters. Look at this, 2022, 2023. 2024. Not any of them under a 1.5 million. Over 1.5 million people each fiscal year, 2022, 2023, 2024, 3 years. That's not including 2021. That the demographic are single adults coming over the border. And, a lot of them are, again, ready military aged men. Very scary. And the breakdowns that they have over the border and the nationwide amount with the Border Patrol. I was just reading this here. With the nationwide amount with Border Patrol, it doesn't include still gotaways, the ones that aren't even tracked at the moment. And that's what's really scary. Let's just go back to it.
Canada has some work to do as far as helping us secure our northern border. So we still know we're extremely vulnerable across that northern border, that we have people coming into our country from China, from foreign countries. We have people on the terrorist watch list that come in over our northern border. Yeah. And in fact, what we have sent a message.
The main amount of people that are terrorists that come over from the terrorist watch list are mainly the northern border, not the southern border. The people who are terrorists mainly come over the northern border because there is tens of thousands of miles of border that's just unoccupied. I mean, I live on a border state and not all of the border is occupied.
This week on is that we're not just going to enforce our southern border, we're going to put extra resources at that northern border as well. So Canada needs to come to the table. They need to work with us to make sure that not only can we be good neighbors, but that we can help each other's economies by getting in line and making sure that our immigration policies are followed and that those that are dangerous criminals face consequences. The president has been very clear from the beginning that there's a new sheriff in town, that he's going to make sure he's putting Americans first, and that Canada can help us, or they can get in the way and they will face the consequences of it.
As you know, Madam Secretary, economists all across the board are warning that ultimately tariffs lead to higher prices for consumers, and that these tariffs in particular could see prices increase on food, electronics, and cars. The president himself acknowledging this morning these tariffs could cause, quote, some pain. How is this move helping President Trump fulfill his campaign promise to lower prices?
You know, you've seen the president take action already this week with Colombia, and you saw Colombia react in a very positive way that was good for everyone involved. Canada, Mexico, other countries have the opportunity to do exactly the same. So we have a strong leader. He has laid down exactly what he is going to do and what the consequences are. I encourage their leadership teams to get on board and to make sure that they're not pushing up prices. If prices go up, it's because of other people's reactions to America's laws. And that's what President Trump is doing. He is making sure that we're not picking and choosing winners and losers. Let
me ask you, I've been talking.
That's important. No, we're not picking and choosing winners and losers. What we're doing is letting the market dictate and decide who will be the winners and losers, how it's supposed to be in a real capitalistic society. Nothing for nothing to, I saw a bunch of people online already being like, oh, look at this is the crash of the economy. And it definitely is not. Even though a lot of the stocks are going down, right now, currently, the crypto market is pretty much on a bull run surge. A lot of the European, a lot of the Asian market, opens up in the middle of the night while we're sleeping. And I pay attention to these patterns, and a lot of them tend to sell because they're worried about the tariffs are really worrying the Asian market because they're not going to have much without us. And it's, shame on you, Kristen Welker. Do a little bit of research because, to be very honest with you, lady, you're just trying to get another snapshot of the gotcha moment. And just typing into Google what are the results of the tariffs will give you some pretty profound answers. I don't even need to go over them with people, but you know what? Real quick, the tariffs might hurt real quickly over the next couple of months, but I really, really doubt it. You might see a slight increase in some of the foreign products that we might depend on. But as the year goes on, and this year we'll start to rebuild those products back here in America, much of the prices are not going to really be going up. And a lot of people should be really excited for this because it's really starting to liberate our country. I'm going to move a little forward, though. She tries to, just what we just talked about again, the gotcha moment with the whole economy. It's not Christine Noem's specialty. She's DHS secretary. Homeland Security is her main thing. She's not our economic czar. She's not the one in control of that. So, meanwhile, though, while we're on Fox News, a little bit later on during the weekend show, J.D. Vance did a fantastic interview and answered some very important questions about the
scandal.
DEI.
It is a scandal, thankfully, that has stopped under the leadership of President Trump.
What he's talking about is the FAA,
about
the
aviation
diversity program
safety,
hires.
but it's also why we've had way too many near misses and, unfortunately, a fatal crash just a couple days ago.
So
racial hiring basically going on at the FAA and a lot of other government programs. Basically, the only one who benefits with the DEI programs is going to be white women. And that's a fact. That's not, anything that's not been disproven. That is a fact. I mean, I just typed it into Google real quick. And I just typed in, who benefits the most? I go, white women. I go, who benefits the most out of this, right? Who benefits the most? DEI by race, white women. However, well designed for the underrepresented groups, studies have shown that the principal have been white women. Kind of crazy, right? And they're the ones who are pushing it too. Whether they realize it or not, it's completely the opposite of what it is told for everybody it's supposed to do. And I don't know, you seem like you're selling some sort of a bunk product there to people. And the grifting, I think people are really starting to get a little numb to it. The DEI hiring is not becoming beneficial because
we haven't had an accident like this in a long time.
I mean,
we've had a lot of near misses.
Yes, we have.
Right? We've had
near misses, almost accidents we've had, everything. It's all because of that. We need the best and the brightest in the best places.
And they're responsible for detecting and
work hard to
managing
get to those
landings
places.
at airports. Meanwhile, you've got companies like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon that have very sophisticated systems, and our allies are using those systems, like in the UK.
That's right. So there are two big issues here. Number one, most importantly, again, you've got to have the right people at air traffic control.
That's the biggest one.
Air traffic control is short-staffed, and I think the elimination of DEI hires and DEI policies will allow us actually to hire the air traffic controllers that we need. The software point is really important, though, because we know if you look at these old, antiquated air traffic control systems, it really does look like a video game that's 30 years old.
Once we get through the hearings for the confirmation process, you will begin the work on executing your agenda, President Trump's agenda. What role will you have specifically in that?
I play the role that the president needs me to play, right? Whether it's casting the tie-breaking vote or maybe talking to someone in the Senate college.
This man will be president. He is an internal solid rock for the party. And his logic and reason that he gives out during interviews is absolutely profound, especially every time he goes against, say, a left-leaning media outlet. And every time he hears BS, he does not let it fester for more than 5 seconds until he just completely interjects and lets you know the real facts. Let you know the real facts, Margaret. You know, I just don't really care, Margaret. I don't care, Margaret. I don't care.
Colleagues about the importance of voting on this nomination, meeting with the Speaker of the House about some of the details of the legislation. I sort of see my job as an all-around player. You know, when I played Pee Wee football, you would sometimes get a trophy, Mr. All-Around, for the kids who played offense and defense. I just have to serve the role that the president needs me to serve
great all-around
in order to facilitate his agenda. You know, the thing that I would remind people, both the White House staff, the congressional leadership, is the president's success is the country's success. And to the extent that we can help the president implement his agenda, that's going to mean more jobs, that's going to mean higher take-home pay, that's going to mean more people able to raise a family in a stable home in a secure neighborhood. Like, the agenda is clear. We just have to go get it done. I'm going to play whatever role the president needs you to play. Chinese use.
Please let me know down below in the comments, what role do you expect the vice president to play, I should say. You know, I think what he's doing, like the vice president, if you look, is supposed to deal with the internal affairs of the country. So he's basically doing all of the things to keep us afloat. Can't say that much about the past administration. However, if that's their definition of keeping things afloat, then that's absolutely fine. However, he's doing a great job, and he has, I think, fulfilled more than what we already expected.
That the Russians use, that frankly, Denmark, which controls
Greenland,
all
other presidents. So the next part,
but that's the thing.
this is the most important here. We're talking about DEI, right? We're talking about DEI and all of the failed policies with that. We figured that they would learn. They would maybe try to put the DNC into a different direction, point them into a different skew. Maybe look at some other avenues, outlets, what topics people actually care about, but instead they're doubling down hardcore. And they're making sure that they fit quotas. They make sure
2 male and 2 female. In order to be
they have to have these balance here.
Add 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender.
That's crazy. Crazy. So it looks like lessons aren't being learned. However, it gets worse. It gets much worse. And shout out to the Cartier family. I watch them a lot, and they put a lot of logical sense into this DEI woke craziness, and they debunk it. They debunk it with their own experiences and the things that they have going on in their lives and what they have aspired to accomplish. And they're not grifting while they debunk all these grifters. And they make a very valid point. They don't do normally don't do streams on top of streams, but I feel like when it's important, it needs to be addressed.
So change, of course, but
it doesn't represent the majority of those.
But they could very well think that this is the course that they are supposed to be on.
Yes, I think this is.
Just take a pause, bro.
Statistical data will show you that DEI doesn't benefit black people in the way that it benefits white women, Asians, immigrants, and homosexuals. Yet black people are taking the stance that DEI is some armor that's put them up in life. But statistical data of facts in real world experiences says the complete opposite.
Numbers don't lie.
So where is this narrative that DEI is an attack on black people and that black people are the face of DEI when stats and data and facts says the complete opposite?
So it's propaganda.
It's propaganda.
It's literal.
It
it's
is.
Literally what I think.
It's a type of mind control or cult of personality. That's what it is, really. In the end of the day, it's a type of cult of personality, and many leaders have used it. North Korea is very famous for the cult of personality. Same thing with the Russian regime, with Stalin, and with even Nazis and Hitler. Those are all cult of personalities, and it's like they're just trying to continuously try to cultivate. It's this cult of personality. And they bring up a very valid point. It's just why stop and enough. It's I don't think they're ever going to learn.
Emotional strings of black.
I'm going to keep moving because now I want to keep going a little bit further. I have to kind of rush this just a little bit here because fortunately I have somewhere to be at 3 o'clock.
But the terrorist threat is
up to the confirmation hearings for the remainder of the weekend. The remainder of the week, the later part of the week, we had, Tulsi Gabbard, Cash Patel, with the confirmation hearings. anybody who lives in the state of Alaska, primary this woman, Susan Collins. I think Susan Collins is in Alaska. If not, she might be in Maine, one of the two. But she's one of the purple states that basically she is going to not follow what everyone else is going with, and she's going against the grain to, satisfy her constituents. And primaries. 2026 is coming real quick.
FBI Director
These people are just, it's so much
confirmed,
resistance.
What would be your strategy to refocus the IC?
She's old. Like, she's so old. Like, how come there's just
to our
not
country and to Americans abroad?
us young people need to
Thank
step
you,
up.
Senator. I agree
We all
with
really
your
need to start
assessment.
getting
And this
the ball
speaks
rolling
to
with
the need for
taking
the
over these
ODNI
positions.
to exist, to redirect those resources, identifying the gaps in intelligence so that we are able to get ahead of these threats instead of coming around after the fact and trying to assess why did we not know about this sooner so that we could have taken action to prevent it. Thank you.
Senator Wyden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome,
Lord Snoke.
Gabbard. Thank you.
Senator Wyden, also known as Lord Snoke, in a galaxy far, far away, has been causing tons of issues with confirmation
We've been talking about Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act.
Yes,
and I believe it's critical that the DNI support additional reforms to protect the privacy of law-abiding Americans. In your written response to committee questions, you wrote, and I quote, "Warrants should generally be required before an agency undertakes a U.S. person query of Section 702.
Sounds about right.
Is this your current position?
Yes, it is, Senator. And as you'll note in that written response, I noted some exigent circumstances with...
See, I don't like that. Lord Snoke, I just want to make sure you take people away first and then do the investigation.
Which there may be other options, but I also want to make a note that a simple warrant requirement is ultimately going to be a policy decision that all of you will make. I would point to history, to some examples.
I think the senators forget about these how things work.
That you support a warrant. Section 702 also involves a huge loophole now that was included recently that could allow the government to force anyone with access to a Wi-Fi router or cable box to secretly participate in the warrantless surveillance program. Do you support, as I do, eliminating this language?
Senator, I would have to look and undermine Americans' Fourth Amendment rights and civil liberties.
You are being very helpful by moving so quickly. Let me turn to whistleblowers.
What she was saying there, so I think got cut off a little bit from my editing, terrible editing. She did not want the FBI undermining the civil liberties of the American rights. One thing I do agree with Lord Snoke here, that, being there, making it back to the power of the people, and actually abiding by the laws, where the FBI and the National Intelligence Agency kind of needs to go at this point. We're going to skip over to Kash Patel, too, and take a look and see how his confirmation hearing
was
were going.
that were able to find out that the Steele dossier was a bunch of crap?
Yes, Senator, we followed the money, and we exposed the fraud that was the Steele dossier.
And the primary subsource was Igor Danchenko, right?
That's correct, Senator.
And he was actually a Russian analyst.
That's right.
Are you aware that in January he told the FBI that, let's see, what did he tell the FBI? Steele had no proof to support the statements, then it was just talk. The primary subsource explained to the FBI that his information came from word of mouth and hearsay, conversations he had with friends over beers, and some of the information were statements he heard made in jest. And he told the FBI this in January of 2017. And they got 2 more warrants after that.
That's correct.
Are you aware that the FBI had volumes of information that the Steele dossier was a bunch of bullshit and nobody ever told anybody at the top?
I am, sir. We exposed.
Or they lied about being told.
That's correct.
So are you aware of the fact that the FISA court rebuked the FBI?
A bunch of liars.
Are you aware of the fact that an FBI lawyer went to jail because he misled the court by manipulating a email from the CIA?
I am.
Do you believe that Crossfire Hurricane was one of the most disgusting episodes in FBI history of a corrupt investigation led by corrupt people who wanted to take Donald Trump down.
Yes, sir.
You think that's why you're in this chair today, to fix that?
I think that's a big part of the
Without
reason.
Crossfire Hurricane, this guy wouldn't be here. And my friends on the other side,
He makes a good point
like
here.
pulling teeth.
The
Horowitz investigation.
We actually have a real honest candidate in there.
Inspector General. Label this fraudulent at its core, mismanaged at its core, running stop signs. At every turn, they went forward when they should have stopped. The Durham report said it was obviously politically motivated. FBI agents were telling anybody and everybody that would listen, this is not reliable, this is not trustworthy, but they plowed on.
And they put it in the national
Because
media.
of you and Trey Gowdy and others, we now know
What the truth is.
about this.
Yes, and that is the reason why we know that the Hunter Biden laptop was a bunch of BS, that we knew that the Steele dossiers were also a bunch of BS. And, you know, just real quick, if people aren't aware of what, you know, the Steele dossier is, oh, we have two different kinds of inputs here. If you were to look it up online real quick, you look at the wiki input, right? Real quick, we'll look at the quick wiki input. The real quick wiki input says here is that it's a controversial political opposition research report on 2016's presidential campaign of Donald Trump complied to counterintelligence specialist Christopher Steele. It was published without permission in 2017, unfinished 35 compilation, unverified, and potentially unverifiable memos that were considered by Steele to be raw intelligence, not an established fact, but a starting point for further investigations. And then the dossier, written from June to 2016 December, and contains allegations of misconduct, conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. We all know how that turned out. But just to kind of give you a quick background. And that's the man, you know, Kash Patel, he is the man who broke this open. You know, I mean, this Russian, you know, had numerous secretive contacts and Russian agents, as a call, according to Hillary Clinton. They said that they influenced, you know, the campaign of Trump, when in fact it was just quite the opposite, supposed to influence and help Hillary Clinton win. And, you know, you get the Mueller report, the Mueller report, I should say, after. And a lot of these claims were just dismissed. Everything was told that it was a conspiracy, conspiring with Russia, a Russian collusion, Russian hoax. And this is why they don't want these people in here. They are fighting tooth and nail, because these are all the people, if you look over the past 8 years, every single one of these cabinet picks who have been fighting tooth and nail against the grain to try to keep the American way alive. And I can't wait to see what's going on this week now. And we will be here and let you know what's going on for this week in our real life and our real life drama that we have happening and unfolding right in front of our eyes. I'm excited. I'm buckled up and I'm ready to go. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow me for more content. I feel like I'm slowly starting to get a little bit better at this. As time goes on, I'm sure I'm going to fine tune everything to make it a lot more efficient. However, thanks for tuning in and thanks for checking us out. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.